Two players on her being jostled, fouled, tripped, pushed, cursed at an entire game, her entire career on the line. Courtney, my daughter, in November, had the ball 22 yards out, won one game to go to the state final, right? Makes a move, dribbles around somebody, and hits a rocket into the goal that in the article in the newspaper would be called the boom and the bounce. Use energy is a part of the production of outcomes. Male or female, whether you're white or black, whether your skin color is any tone in between, it's a part of acceleration shift. It is why the symbol of Unblinded is a lightning bolt. It is why I spent $50,000 generating the term unblinded and using my mind in meeting after meeting to figure out what to call this company. Why I engaged people that were world-class at doing it and battling, jostling, because I knew that what we called this, and I knew what our symbol was, there is love and there is goddess energy. It is indispensable. In our formula, we say that goddess energy gathers and Zeus energy organizes and creates. That is not, for anybody who is new here, that is not differentiating between men and women. How did my daughter lived in Zeus energy from the time she was 5 and goddess energy? My daughter Emma the same. When they were in their goddess energy, they were loving, hugging, just like I was as a football player, and celebrating and having fun with my teammates, fun, right? Aspirational dreams. And in the creation of those moments, when other girls in the field were fouling, cheating, cursing, dirty, cheap shotting when the ref was the other way, she wasn't going to be able to love them out of it in those moments. It was lightning bolts and Zeus. It was her matching and mirroring. It was her finding the courage to be in a space that wasn't her natural way, but her finding her way and learning from the time she was a little girl. And true story, in Courtney's first soccer game, when she was 5 years old, the game started with her crying because she was overwhelmed with emotion she didn't understand. And in her first game ever, it was a co-ed game, boys and girls, Courtney scored 7 goals in the game. True story. Like, it was her versus a boy in the other team, and everybody else was picking flowers and watching. And all the way through those dynamics, when she was 8 and 9 and 10, when everybody, you can say, oh, how cute, and moms are screaming, dads are screaming at their kids in the field, people are yelling and stop my daughter, Mark, Mark number 21, when she was little, her number was 5, Mark 5, where's 5, stop 5. Like, those are the conversations. So I share this because base camp for us together is feeling comfortable in disruption. I've been in rooms of people lying about committing sexual assault, and I've had to make them admit it. I've examined the Inspector General of the state of Arizona, and I will be clear and name names, who was lying, who didn't do his job, and was allowing insurance fraud to be committed, and was turning a blind eye at best and maybe worst, and lying under oath in a federal courtroom. And I hit that man with lightning bolts, left, right, in the center. If I didn't, and if I didn't know how to, then somebody would have gotten away with stealing my client's life work from him. And that was my job. And when Coach Ennis confronted me when I was 17 and told me he thought I was somebody and he guessed he was wrong and that I was a coward. He was telling me the truth when I was feeling sorry for myself and I was not going to go to a tryout camp with the best of the best because I was being in my own ego and significance and upset that I got politically screwed in all legal county, all state voting, which I did. And he told me the truth. It's when Coach Slazak said, we're going to come on this field, and when you step across the white lines, you have no friends. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the precursor. And you can look up the videos of Coach Slazak, who cried on a video we did together as he talked about his pain of overcoming his stuttering problem or dealing with it for his entire life, and why he engaged in such aggressive, at times, cries for help in his vulnerability. And it was the precursor, that teaching, that is what the real raw is. But there's a lot of contributions and sources for how we get to a real raw. And the truth was that we did things to compete massively. Tom Filatico, some of you know, he's our Chief Accountability Officer at Calgary Law. Some of you, or my friends, my best friends in the world, to this day from high school, we still get together. We still see each other. They were at the Calgary Christmas party this year with Coach Slazak at a table. One of my friends is the police chief in Emerson. He broke my rib when we were 32, and had kids playing a charitable touch football game because we were taught by Coach Slazak, and he didn't cheap shot me, right? He just hit me legitimately, but he didn't hold up. We were taught by Coach Slazak, our freshman high school football coach, when you walked across the white lines at practice, the person on the other side was not your friend. I might distinguish that and say, we were still friends. And the highest act of unconditional love with boundaries was to hit each other as hard as we possibly could to make each other better. And the byproduct of that was that we walked into practice with Coach Slazak as 15-year-olds, as boys, as non-masters, and we emerged as masters of ourselves. Not perfectly, but we went from 2s and 3s to 9.5s and higher because we told each other the truth. We told each other the truth, which is, I'm going to bring my best. I'm going to do everything I can to leverage my fear in a different way. I'm going to be afraid of coming to the end of this season, not having given everything inside of me and not having challenged you to bring everything inside of you. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of getting hit. I'm not afraid of you getting mad at me if you get hit. And that's how we're going to bring the best out in each other. Now, sometimes analogies don't land perfectly. And if you're like, whoa, here's the whoa. Let's love each other. Let's hold each other accountable to actions. Let's not focus on if it's white cleats or black cleats, high tops, low tops, what color our practice jerseys can be. Those things are things we could spend a minute on, but our time should be spent on, are you time blocking? Are you showing up? Are you succumbing to your fear when you get hit with an irrational objection, or dropping into your ego and trying to overpower? Are you stepping into truth with people? Or are you hiding because you're afraid? How are you leveraging your fear and your self-mastery in love for people? I love Coach Slazak. And he asked me and Tom Filatico when he came to my office. He asked me and Tom if when he passed, he's 70 years old, he's in excellent health, if we would speak at his funeral. And Fernando and everybody, the year after, might have been 2 years after we graduated, Coach Slazak got fired. And he got fired because he had a group of people that he told the truth to, that he offered everything to, that he offered to us. The ability to change their self-mastery, their leadership, how they saw themselves. The same offer he made to our group, we're the class of 1988 from Emerson High School, the same thing he offered to us, which led to us winning the league championship, led to us beating St. Joe's Regional, a national power in high school football in the parochial private school world, versus us being a tiny public group in high school. We beat them as sophomores when people thought we were going to get hurt and destroyed. And these are memories that are pillars of belief that sit under me to this day as we go forward with this mission. He offered that to the people 2 years behind us. And their answer was, Mom, Coach Slazak's too mean. Coach Slazak's too hard. It's too difficult. He's not nice. When he tells me that I'm not working hard enough, and he hits me, with that intensity, when he puts a helmet on and makes us do a tackling drill together, that's crazy. And they were also right. But they missed everything. Everything. Because for them, it was about what felt more comfortable and felt more easy. And for those that were on, I think it was a week ago, it might have been 2 weeks ago Friday, 1 week ago Friday, or 2 weeks ago Friday, when we had my high school wrestling coach, Stan Woods, on, he screamed at me in a gym full of people after I did something selfish and overate after weigh-ins and blew my match and was out of self-mastery. He blew me up in front of a room full of people, a gym full of people. And he was right. And he was right. And I'm not suggesting that we should be blowing each other up. And I'm not speaking into anything that's happened. I'm speaking into Zeus energy because we teach it here. I'm speaking into unconditional love with boundaries. And if we love each other enough, we tell each other the truth. And Chaz, I said, let's exit today with a different thing. Let's exit today with the YouTube video of the speech from Friday Night Lights, the halftime speech at the end of the movie, in the game, where the coach talks to everybody about being able to tell one another the truth and to look each other in the eyes and to say there wasn't one more thing that you could have done. And when you know that, then you could rest with love in your heart. Let's play that as our outro for today. There's no specific reason other than pure inspiration. This isn't based on an event or dynamic. This is based on the reality and my remembering, as I was doing some of my own self-mastery work, that sometimes I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing and I'm being enough of Coach Slazak here, of loving unconditionally with boundaries. And you can approach this program any way you want. You're not part of a high school team. What you do, if you're not in a 10 by 10, only affects you. So it's not the same. This is voluntary. If you're in a 10 by 10, though, you're making commitments to those people on your team. And I offer you what Coach Slazak offered to me, Coach Woods, Coach Larry Ennis, that Bill Parcells, a mentor of mine, Bill Parcells called him a mentor, two-time Super Bowl winning coach of the Giants, and I called him a mentor. The opportunity to do something unique and special, to do something people don't think you can do, you may not think you could do, and that many people in the world think is impossible. And I will share this with you. The greatest moments of my life where I felt the highest, and I'm gonna say something, that whatever it means is gonna mean, but it's the truth. I have never been more grateful to God than at the birth of my children. I have never been more grateful to God than the birth of my children. And that was not the most proud moment of my life. Because the biology of having a child, while a blessing, because some can't and haven't and don't, is amazing. Anybody could do that. Now, what you do with it from there, that's a whole different story. Okay? But the moments of my life, the moments of my life that have been the most magical and meaningful for me have been the moments that I've enjoyed with my children in adventurous dynamics like skiing, scuba diving, loving each other in lessons on the one hand, and the most high-pitched, fervent, over-the-top magic moments were the following. When my son, Tyler, who didn't have opportunities, was mistreated in a variety of ways, and wasn't the most naturally gifted as a kid, worked like a lunatic, made an elite level club team with no influence of mine or anybody, didn't even know who he was. And on that team, had immense challenges because the unbelievable athletic ability of the kids in that team, became a leader on that team, hitting, lost his role as leader in that team, and got an opportunity when he was 11 years old to come up to bat with the entire tournament on the line, a team that had beat his team 10-0 in a mercy 6 months before in a different tournament. And he got the game-winning hit in the tournament. Like walk-off game-winning hit, like tournament over. And everybody piled on top of him. And it wasn't pride for my son doing something I could pat my chest about. It was the life lesson of him getting his ass kicked repeatedly and getting himself off the ground as an 11-year-old little boy and finding his way to greatness and having a stone of remembrance, a tabletop under an empowering belief for him to always come back to for what happened. My daughter, it was when she hit that goal, rocketed that ball in, and when she was herself 12 years old, playing against Ridgewood in a travel game, and they were fat. They were a much bigger town, much better team, and they were fouling her, tripping her, parents screaming. And with two people on her, elbowing her, fighting all the way down the field, in a 4-3 game that they were down, she scored the game-winning goal in the last minute, which was her fourth goal of the game. And she refused to let them stop her. For me, it was 1987 personally. In a game I didn't score a touchdown in. It was one of the only game my senior year I didn't catch a pass in. But I did my job on defense, and I held my corner. I just did my job. Nothing to be in the newspaper about, nothing to happen. And to have people in a game that was unwinnable, where we had lost our brother and quarterback, my best friends, and other players to injury, in a game that nobody thought we had a chance to win. And because of what we learned from Coach Slazak as 15-year-olds and now as seniors, and our other amazing coaches and mentors, and it was as the crowd crashed through the fences onto the field, really happened. Those wooden fences, they knocked the fences down. Our fans from Emerson, it was a away game. We brought fan buses. It's the height of rivalry. All of Bergen County was there because at that time, it was when Hasbrook Heights was one of the only fields with lights. And I was hugging two of my best friends since I was 11 years old on the field and weeping we were, hugging and just saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. And that's the same feeling I had at the end of the Arizona trial. When corruption, lying, cheating, stealing was everywhere, and the judge read the verdict, and everybody in that courtroom was looking at me because I was the person with tears streaming down my face. Because I had told my children that that case would prove that our justice system worked if you cared enough, developed your skills enough, and I was going to prove it to them and show it to them so they could believe. I bet their entire belief system on our justice system on what the formula would and could do, and it did. And that's why I had tears streaming down my face, in addition to justice being done for my client. So as you think about how that video made you feel, as you think about what Zeus energy is, I promise you this. Everything I described is inside of you. And if you know it, my outcome for today was to confirm it. If you're not sure, my outcome today was to disrupt and to tell you it is who you are and what you were made for. It is who everybody is and what everyone is made for leadership, for love, for truth, for incredible people coming together to do the impossible, to serve humans, to love people, and to love each other enough to drive and press and challenge each other about what matters. Not what flavor the Gatorade is, not whether it's high tops or low tops, and not whether we should be wearing red, white, or black jerseys. It's in the micro distinctions of, are you ready on the next drill to look your friend in the eye and to tell them that you gave it everything as you lit them up and drilled them and gave them the truth? The truth. Not because it was manipulation for your own ego, not because you had an agenda, because it was what was best for them. And I love this concept. And Socrates was attributed with saying, I don't know if it's true, we cannot live better than in seeking to become still better than we are. You are good enough as you are. You are perfect as you are. You don't need to do anything differently. Let's leave that there and then choose and say, but it's a whole hell of a lot of fun to come together to do the impossible. And I believe that I've been blessed with so many moments of having the impossible happen in my life, coaching people to do it, experiencing it myself, seeing it through the eyes of my children when they shouldn't have been able to do what they did. So I could teach it and share it and drive it forward. And I promise you, I will never sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's okay to settle. And it is okay to settle. But it will never bring you the greatest joy and happiness and fulfillment. And the mission is to love yourself along the way, to have fun and feel magic, and lead other people to do the same, because they are desperate for leadership. And the they is everybody on this planet. At these times, with these pains, with these issues, with these dynamics, we are desperate for leadership and truth. And leadership and truth is that through being together, truly together, right, is how we get through. As long as honesty and justice and equity are truly at the heart of it, and not division and hatred and retribution, like that brings us nowhere. Lightning bolt equals truth. It equals the loss of ignorance. It equals illumination and mastery. Fernando, how are you?
Sean, absolutely beautiful huddle. Thank you, once again, for honoring our agreement. I know you and I have a very, open, structured coaching, style, and I appreciate you taking the moment to teach me another lesson. Even I, after being on about 700 of these, come with like a student eagerness, wiggling my toes, because I know there's always something possible here. And the truth that I'm enlightened to today is we talk about truth. We talk about loving all people. We talk about integrity. And the truth is, when we step into truth, sometimes we're going to be misunderstood. Just like the story of 2 years later, your coach being let go for saying the truth. And, this week, I felt sad. I felt misunderstood. I felt doubted by the people closest to me. And eventually truth prevailed. And it is a roller coaster in the prism of 1 week. And it's also in the prism of your life story, Sean. And stepping into truth, being doubted, being unheard, being, not seen by the people closest to you, and then allowing truth to prevail. And to our movement, I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. I'd love to introduce Courtney, briefly, as she is a very powerful individual in the world that displays goddess and Zeus energy and
Mhm.
fun and aspirational, and is like, simply when she's on the screen, she just brings brightness to the world. And I'm excited to call her a friend. She's part of Team Thunder. We're merging like crazy, friends with Sean through the Platinum Partnership. And Courtney Epps, in like 60, 90 seconds, you can share your leadership, what you're up to in the world, and how I say Courtney only connects superheroes. Like, what say you in what you're doing in the world of contribution and nonprofit?
Hey guys, thank you so much, Fernando. And Sean, that was amazing. I just want you to know that. So I'm so grateful for people that force me to do things and step out of my comfort zone, especially my coaches back in high school. So that really brought me back. So, we are, I'm an accountant. I'm a tax strategist. I tell people I like to be called a motivational tax strategist because I've been through a lot and we've been able to overcome it. And, I love freeing up money for people. That's what I do on a daily basis is just freeing up money for people. But on top of that, which is I'm most grateful for and most passionate about, is connecting and helping nonprofits, connecting those to for-profits. And so what we did about 2 years ago, actually April 2018, we started something called a social business. And what that means is that you're giving from the top. You're not giving after net income, you're giving from the top, and you commit to that giving. And so what we've been able to do is, for every dollar that comes in our accounting practice, we actually provide a serving of whole food plant-based nutrition through a nonprofit called Mana Relief, the only nonprofit in the world that actually provides non-synthetics to children. So huge deal. And we've been able to impact 2.2 million servings of food to children in need. And so every single day now, our accounting practice actually provides 8,000 servings of food to children. And so that was very crucial and a huge part of what I was doing. And I fell in love with that. And then Operation Underground Railroad came along, and I said, you know what, we've got to give to them too. And, I want to be a part of what they're doing. And I felt led that we should connect Operation Underground Railroad to Mana Relief. And for those of you that do not know what Operation Underground Railroad is, their whole goal is to eradicate child trafficking. And so Mana Relief's goal is to eradicate child malnutrition. And so I connected the two, and we're actually now funding 100% OTB Taxes. Our accounting firm is providing all the nourishment for all the children through the aftercare, but we're also giving to Operation Underground Railroad. And about every 3 days, we're able to free a child through sex trafficking. And then we added in another nonprofit called The Last Well. And what The Last Well does is they have gone in and actually done a border-to-border initiative. And it is well, and I know my accent is W-E-L-L, guys. It's not a W-H-A-L-E. I understand if people get confused. So it's a water well. So we're actually putting in water wells in every village in the entire country of Liberia. And let me tell you, there's 1 million people. There were 1 million people in that country up until the last 11 and a half years that had no water. Like, they were literally walking 2 miles to a ditch and getting water out of that ditch and bringing it back home. And what happened in the last 11 and a half years is this nonprofit came in and said, we're going to put in a well, we're going to spread the gospel to the entire country of Liberia. And it decreased sex trafficking by 87%, because the children were literally walking to wells and they were getting taken by sex traffickers. And so next week, next Tuesday, I am honored that I have 5 nonprofits that are actually going to be connecting together, and we're going to teach them how to connect for-profits to nonprofits and how to fund these nonprofits so that they can go and actually spread their mission and change the world. And so if you're in that with us, if you want to be a part of that, if you want to understand how that works, see, it's 100% tax deductible as a business expense if you give from a gross income level. Instead, if you give from a net income level, it has to flow to your personal tax return. 96% of Americans get no benefit from giving. And so we can teach you how to give and it become a business tax deduction. But the impact, guys, and this is the last thing I'll say, it's taken our practice from making $15,000 a month 2 years ago to $270,000 a month now. And that's massive. Like it has changed our entire, it has changed our entire history, the legacy of our family, the way that we give, the culture in our office. It's just changed everything for us, and we've been able to impact so many. We'll have impacted so many millions of lives, but you know, giving changes everything. And I'm first and foremost the person. If you want to know about that, please reach out so I can help you start giving, and so that you can help more people.
Hey, Courtney,
Yes,
that
sir.
is utterly amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to deal with like I'm going to level one listen for a second, but I think it's in honor and service of. I'm just sitting here listening, and I realized that 2 years ago, because I gave off of the bottom line instead of the top line, New Jersey doesn't deduct. New Jersey doesn't deduct or allow you to deduct charitable giving off the bottom line. I think with what you're saying, I paid $80,000 in taxes to the state of New Jersey on the money I gave.
Yes.
That I think I could have avoided. You could have helped me avoid. And I'm sitting here going,
Yes.
that $80,000 could have gone to these charities because I given a large amount. And I realized that like, they're like, oh, it's not deductible. If we had structured it the way you're saying, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, like that's ridiculous that my accountant didn't say that. And I'm literally, I'm present to that. So thank you. That's unbelievable.
Thank you. It has been truly amazing. But, you know, yesterday I was able to, I'm in Oklahoma and I'm on my way to Utah to go to this big event. And someone came over yesterday, just a neighbor to a friend of mine. And I saved her $30,000. Like I looked at her returns and we went back and found 30 grand. Her and her husband lost their business last year. They're in the oil and gas industry. And it was life-changing. Like she cried. And I said, and then I didn't charge her as much. I charged her like $3 grand to go back and amend both years' tax returns because of the situation that they were in. And, you know, at the end of the day, I said, you know, thank you. Not only did we find you 30 grand, but you just provided nourishment for 3,000 children. And then on top of that, you provided safe drinking water for 20 people in Liberia, and then you've made a huge dent in helping us free another child from sex trafficking. And when you can get your staff and your clients on board with your mission, the sky's the limit.
Hey, Courtney, can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to get out there. I know we talked
Yes.
talked about it. I got to figure out a couple dynamics.
Boom.
I will be there, right?
Awesome.
Is there two questions? And I am not meaning to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot because we may not be able to talk in between. I got to do like 5 other things today. Is it possible to add one more leader of a nonprofit to that conversation to learn about what we're talking about? I don't know if they'd be interested in coming or not.
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes, I think we're going to accept anybody who wants to change the world. If you're willing to come to Salt Lake City, Utah next Tuesday, we're going to have a film crew. We're going to have nonprofits. We're going to have for-profits. Janelle Gordon is actually going to be there, and she'd have to tell you her story, but she was actually sex trafficked for 10 years, had to stage her own death in order to get out of that. And so she's going to be there as well. So I was hoping we could do some real raw sales role plays while we were out there. At least 3 or 4 we could knock out, Sean.
Yeah, Courtney, we're going to have a lot of fun. There's no way I'm not going to be there. I am immensely grateful. Courtney, I need to say this about Courtney Epps. You want to talk about stepping into Zeus energy? When I met Courtney, she was amazing. I loved her from the minute I met her. And her certainty when I met her was, if her certainty now is a 9.999, which I'm real confident that it is, the woman I met, her certainty was about a 5. So if anybody doubts if they could step into their Zeus energy, there's amazing leaders all over this movement, like Courtney Epps, like Howla Jaludi, like Dimple, like Elle, and forgive me if I'm not saying your name, all over, that are loving women who are fully in their goddess energy and can step into Zeus and lead and make things happen all over the place. And Courtney, you represent that so amazingly. And your transition from a practice doing, 7,500 a month to $250,000 a month, and the impact you're having on the world is absolutely inspirational. And I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate it.
All right, let's
I
have
I
fun.
can't wait to see you. I cannot wait to see you. I'm so excited.
Me
That's
too.
awesome. And Sean, one more point, and you can
Yeah,
take
brother.
it home. Courtney, if you just answer this question to frame, is it fair that we've known each other for like a year and a half?
Yes.
And we've been like working and doing things together in the world.
Yes.
So when we started our 10 by 10 in a span of a month, 3 weeks, is it when we truly found what we were going to do together, which was you were in the world of helping nonprofits save more money. We're in the world of helping people make more money in less time with more magic. And if it was not because of the 10 by 10, the proximity, the meetings, the conversations, would it be fair to say that maybe Tuesday, all of us, you coming here, inviting the world, this is an ecosystem merger for everyone in our movement, chances of that happening would have been lowered if you hadn't said yes, and we wouldn't have had our 10 by 10. Is that fair?
That's true. And the biggest thing, Fernando, is like, it has taken me some time to kind of wrap into play what I do. And I think that's exactly what Unblinded does as well. And so I made this circle, like this world, and I put my 3 nonprofits in it and had somebody design it because I really suck. I can't even draw stick people. But the
Same
whole
here.
goal is that we teach more. So, right. So, I mean, and I think that's what Unblinded is all about, is we're teaching more people so that they can have more, so that we can help more, so that they can live more, so that we can give more. And then I can then feed more children. I can free more children. I can provide safe drinking water for more children and whatever else we add to that. And I really think it's a circle. I mean, I don't want to say it's a circle of life, but because that would be kind of corny. But it truly is. It's like we were put on this earth to be so much bigger than just be business owners. And God will not allow you to be much if you don't give some of that, whether it's energy, whether it's education, or whether it's money or time, then you won't get as much. And I truly believe, like, the minute I gave $25,000, of which I didn't have, guys, like, I didn't have money. I didn't have extra money. I didn't have money to become a platinum partner. Like, I didn't have an extra $500 a month, and I committed to doing it, and I figured out a way to make that happen. I didn't have an extra $25,000 to give to Operation Underground Railroad on February 29th. And let me tell you what happened is that Monday morning, and my husband was furious. My husband hung up on me when I told him we gave $25,000 to Operation Underground Railroad. I knew he would get over it. It's like best to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission sometimes. Because I saw things that he didn't see. And Monday morning, we gave $25,000 on Saturday. I flew home on Sunday. Monday morning, that by the end of the day, we had made $28,000 in our bank account. Like, it was the biggest day we ever had. It's like, you can't outgive God. And that's what we're here to do in the unblinded world. That's what I see so far, is we're helping each other teach more so that we can have more, we can help more, we can live more, we can give more, and we can feed more and free more.
Yes.
Courtney, go for it. I'm sorry.
And for everyone, it all starts with your Real Raw Open. We've completely booked out, thank you, Courtney, the entire month of June. Ryan and Garrett are texting me, Fernando, tell them, Fernando, they're like not leaving me alone this huddle, and I love them for it. So if you're looking to get on your Real Raw Open, please connect with Ryan and Garrett. Their information is in the chat. Courtney, I love you. I love your energy. I'm so grateful that you're allowing me to step into the reason why I exist is to rewrite humanity through the game of peopleification. And I couldn't do it without Sean, and I couldn't do it without Courtney and Adam and the rest of every single human on this movement. I love you all. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, final. I'm inviting, thank you, Courtney, for that permission. I'm inviting Kirk Adams, the American Foundation for the Blind. If Kirk can't make it, then any other representative if they're interested, or I'll just represent as a board member if there's permission for that. So love all of you. Lightning bolts, love, integrity, priorities, like prioritization. I play with a lot of people over the years, And my college, I don't tell the stories as much in my college baseball, even though I was captain. I started all 4 years, and I love, my college teammates. They weren't like created the same way that they weren't trained the same way that, for the most part, that my high school teammates were. And my college baseball team, we did come in second in the Ivy League my sophomore year, but we didn't have a ton of success during those 4 years. Nothing compared to what I experienced in high school. And they were incredible athletes, had massive success because they weren't trained and conditioned in their self-mastery the same way. And a lot of those dudes were out drinking the night before games and partying and whatever. And I was in the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, like opening the gym, in it late at night, working my butt off. And, it proved out. And a lot of those guys were bigger than me. A lot of those guys, I was the strongest player on my college baseball team in the bench press. And I weighed 180 pounds. Like that made no sense. Those guys on that team that were 220, 230, 240, it was totally crazy. It's all about self-mastery, process mastery, and influence mastery, but it is all three. Let's burn the boats. Let's have fun. And I say this with love and respect. If you can't get people to join your 10 by 10, it's either because you're afraid or need a little bit of support and influence mastery, or you're not time blocking, right? Self-influence process, time block, questions here in your influence, bring it here for support, and just get out of your fear. We need you. The world needs you. Have a beautiful day on Fun Friday. And listen to what Coach is about to say here. Chaz, kick it. Thanks.
Let's go.
It's real simple. You got 2 more quarters and that's it. Now, most of you have been playing this game for 10 years. 2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again as long as you live. Now, you all have known me for a while, and for a long time now, you've been hearing me talk about being perfect. Well, I want you to understand something. To me, being perfect is not about that scoreboard out there. It's not about winning. It's about you and your relationship to yourself and your family and your friends. Being perfect is about being able to look your friends in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And that truth is that you did everything that you could. There wasn't one more thing that you could have done. Can you live in that moment as best you can with clear eyes and love in your heart? With joy in your heart. If you can do that, gentlemen, then you're perfect. I want you to take a moment and I want you to look each other in the eyes. I want you to put each other in your hearts forever, because forever is about to happen here in just a few minutes. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about Boobie Miles, who is your brother. And he would die to be out there on that field with you tonight. And I want you to put that in your hearts. Boys, my heart is full. My heart's full. Ivory.
Our Father, who art in heaven, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day